Hey there guys, we recently got back from a massive trip out to the Big Red Bash, which was, yeah, sort of had its ups and downs, I guess you might say. Not because of any mechanical problems or issues like that, just because I was so crook the first week. But today what I want to do is I'm going to run you through the mud flaps that I actually made for the Caravan and the car. So yeah, we'll look at what I did to make those mud flaps, the materials I used, and I'll also do a bit of a recap and have a look at how they performed. Did they stand up to the test of going out to all that distance out to Birdsville from the Coffs coast? We did nearly, yeah, probably would have been about 4,000 Ks, something like that. Would have been about 500 Ks of dirt. So yeah, it was pretty testing conditions. But yeah, we'll just do a bit of a recap and have a look at how they went. Anyway, guys, let's dive into this. But before we do, it would be awesome if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, that would be epic, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. All right, let's go. All right, it's mud flap day, getting ready for the Big Red Bash still. These are a set of mud flaps here that I bought from Repco in town, only 12 bucks, pretty cheap. But what I'm planning to do, car's a little bit dirty, I'll give her a clean later. But plan is I'm gonna mount that up there, something like that. And I've got this other piece of rubber here, which I'm gonna basically cut a section off that, and then I'll bolt it in. I've got some black bolts bolted in here so it hangs a bit lower. So that's the plan. It's just to yeah, stop a few of those extra stones coming out to the Big Red Bash. So that should do the job, I hope. But anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to give this little wheel arch a clean first, and then we'll start measuring up and cutting out what we need out of this bit of scrap rubber, get that bolted on, and then fit it up. So I've just squared up that old bit of rubber, and I did a quick measurement, and I'm going to do basically 250 mil from there down is going to be, should be enough. Otherwise it'd probably look a bit funny. Might run under the wheel if I go backwards, reversing out or something if I had it a bit any longer than that. So roughly about 250, which is roughly there, a little bit higher. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to go 300 mil because I can always cut it off. Can't put it back on. So there's one piece. Put the dirty bit at the top. Put a T for the top because it's nearly square. At 290, it was 290 by 300. Mark that across the top. So they're the little bolts that I bought for it. Got some flat washers. I'll just get a drill bit. I'm going to put 3 across the bottom and then just 2 up the top. So I'll bolt that bottom section of rubber there, and then we'll sit it up and see how it looks. Rather than using those little regular nuts, I've got the locked nuts, so I'll put those on there. So there we go, that's basically how it's gonna sit. I really didn't want to spend a fortune on Mudflaps at this stage because I don't know if I want them on there permanently or not. Mainly just for this trip out to Birdsville, where you got 280 k's of dirt road, so I think that'll probably just about do the job. So I've got both sets of Mudflaps done. Now it's just a matter of fixing it up there. I just had the young bloke guide me and we squared that up, and I've drilled a pilot hole through that just there, which is going to be where that bolt is. So take that bolt out and then put it through the mud flap, and that'll hold it there. Then I'll level it up again and then fix it in. A bit rusty, I might spray a bit of WD-40 on that. So I'm just going to lay that on there before I go and fix it in, just to use that as a template, because that screws exactly the same spot on the other side. And easy to get in there. Need a longer one. So now onto the rear mud flaps. You can see that rubber hanging down there. That was from Clark Rubber. It's 300mm wide, it's 6mm thick, and they charged me $62 per metre for that. So I just got enough for each of the rear wheels there. And I've just bolted that up to the wheel arch, and I had some chain hanging around in the shed for quite some time, so I thought, well, I'll bolt that in there and hang those mud flaps up, just so if I'm reversing back they don't get, because they were hanging down so low, yeah, so if I'm reversing back they won't get caught under that wheel and rip off, and they worked out quite well. So this is where I'm up to with the stone stomper so far that I've made. That post there is just out of one of those old 3x3 gazebos that got destroyed in a storm. So I've just spray painted that black. This rubber, I've got 2 meters of that rubber. It's 300mm wide from Clark Rubber. It's like $62 a meter, so it's 120 bucks for the rubber. Got a U-bolt, basically goes through there, goes over the tow hitch to secure it in place, and this strip of gal that I've laid over the top and screwed into to fix it in. I got from Bunnings, a strip of that 1.8 meters long is $5, so all up, good stone stomper for probably around, I don't know, let's say 140 bucks. So to give you a quick overview of the mud flap situation, now I've been out to Birdsville and returned, and they've stood up to the test. So this is the flaps I actually put across the front of the van. You can see there where I bolted it in. So that there's 6mm stuff from Clark Rubber, which was $62 a metre. So I've got the 3 sections across the front there. And then I also got some thinner stuff, which you can see I've given a bit of a clean, but that's a 3mm flap right in front of the water tanks. So that's all bolted up there. And that's yeah, done the job, protected the water tanks, had no issues there. The whole van really was awesome traveling out to the Big Red Bash, had no issues whatsoever. Heard lots of horror stories from other people, but yeah, this old girl stood up to the test. That's the they're the mud flaps on the back. So just bolted in through that section there, and then just chained up, just so if I'm reversing back they don't go under. So they're the flaps on the Caravan. They worked really well, and so did the mud flaps on the Hilux. All performed really well, had no issues, and did the job. I gave the old van a clean yesterday, and yeah, there's like really no, like on that front section of van, there's no stone chips or anything like that. So a couple of tiny bits maybe, but really it all worked and did what it was supposed to do. So this is the Hilux. We got home yesterday, I gave the Hilux a clean, and these are the flaps on the back of it. And they held up and did the job too, so no issues with those ones either side. Both worked really well. Yep. So this little bit of footage here just shows you that stone stopper. It stood up to the test. It didn't fall apart or shred or anything like that. Did really well. This is actually shot just in Windora on our way back home. So this is just on the other side of Birdsville after we'd been up and down the dirt road. You can see everything's covered in mud and filthy. So guys, that was it. That was the mud flaps and what I did to the Hilux and the Caravan. Hope that's maybe giving you some ideas of what not to do or what to do. My setup worked. It was fairly inexpensive and did the job and got us there fairly well, stone unscathed, which was good. Yeah, leave any comments if you've got any ideas about what I did to improve it or what you would do differently. That would be cool. Anyway guys, hope you did enjoy that. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers. See ya.